I love a good row quilt like this one.
If you love a row quilt too, then you're going to love our April Quilt of the Month. Happy-go-lucky!
Hi, it's Donna Robertson.
And Fran Morgan with Fabric Café.
There's nothing better than a row quilt. They go together super fast and they really show off beautiful fabric.
So we decided to use a fantastic row quilt for our April Quilt of the Month.
Let me show you the pattern and I'll tell you exactly what we mean by a row quilt. So Happy-Go-Lucky is our quilt of the month, and isn't this adorable? Now, when it comes to making a row quilt, we love every one of the points that make it fast and fun. So you make a strip of fabric that is the width of the fabric. It's perfect for big prints, it's perfect for directional prints, and boy, does it make it go fast whenever you're cutting a big wide strip for a whole row in your quilt. Then we're going to have minimal piecing, making these half square triangles. And you know, with half square triangles, the reason I like them so much is when you make one of the blocks and cut it in half, you have 2 blocks already finished. So let's look at some great fabric that we have for Happy-Go-Lucky. Let's show you how to make the quilt because it's really super simple.
It's really simple, and this is a fun one to make.
Oh, it is. And you're just so happy when you do it.
It goes fast.
The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the width of the fabric and make a big long strip. Now, how's that for making a huge step toward finishing a quilt? It is just amazing.
In no time.
No
time at all.
So there's no seams in this, and all you do is cut that big strip and then trim the sides off to the correct measurement, and then that's going to go on the quilt right here. And then the very minimal piecing is going to be the half square triangles.
I love half square triangles. I think they add so much interest, and that gives me a little something more than just strip piecing.
Yes.
So I think it's really kind of helps keep the interest in quilting.
Well, they add so much movement to a quilt. And if you need a little refresher on how to make a half square triangle, we have a great video for you to check out that we've done once before. In this case, we're going to be using the 2 fabrics that contrast, because that's important whenever you're making a half square triangle. And then these are going to go together just like this. And as I said when I was at the quilt, every time you make a half square triangle, you're stitching 2 squares together, and then you cut them and press them, and you've got 2 of these pieces.
Which is great.
Yeah, it's really cool. Then these are going to go on your quilt right here. So
they're just rotated to create that little pinwheel.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing how much movement you get by just one seam.
It's so cool.
Okay, so that's how it's going to look. And we've got one that's finished up over here, so we could put it right here so you can see how pretty it is.
It is pretty. Good colors.
Yes, I love it. And then what we're going to do when we make the row, so this row was already made, we're going to stitch those half square triangles together by putting a strip of fabric in between. And now remember, whenever we're showing you pieces and parts, we always leave the seam allowances on those so that we can finish it up.
Yeah, don't want it to go to waste, right?
Right. And then you just have a pinwheel, a strip of fabric, a pinwheel, a strip of fabric. You can see how fast and easy that's going to go together. So you're making another long row. Super
Very
simple.
fun.
And then to finish it off, you do some more long pieces, and we're going to put that in between those blocks. And you can see how that goes together down here.
And I like the way, yes, I like the way that kind of makes the pinwheels look like they're floating in this space, like they're spinning across the surface.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Kind of like those pinwheels you used to put on your bicycle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I loved that. That was my favorite thing, the pinwheels and the streamers on the handlebars.
Oh, yeah, you were rocking it, girl. Yeah. Okay, so that's how super simple it is to make this quilt of the month.
I love this fabric.
And this one even has a little saying on here about people can always see flowers if they want.
I love that.
Yes. So you can go out into your yard almost at this time of the year and see flowers. They're called dandelions.
They're flowers. They count.
They are. So this is your focus fabric, and it is absolutely, I love
so
that
pretty.
peachy color in there.
And on black, I think it's very striking.
So this is going to go everywhere you see your big wide strip. That's your fabric number 1. And that's the fabric you really want to show off. And then for our background, because the number 2 always is so important and works so hard, even though it's a nice, subtle, white. It's a very quiet fabric, but it does its job, and it does it well by causing that contrast between the focus as well as your number 3. And that number 3, look at that. It's going to pick up that peachy color that we were talking about so beautifully. Yeah. And that's going to be everywhere you see your pinwheel.
And you know, it's a totally different look for this quilt because I love the floral in that spot. And it has just a touch of whimsy to it.
And you know, a lot of times we think of this as being a row quilt as being something that's super fast for like maybe a baby quilt or something like that. But you know, this would be really nice to go in a sunroom or...
Yes.
Oh, and you know, Mother's Day is coming up. It would be a beautiful Mother's Day quilt as well.
Good idea.
Yeah, so I really like the way it turned out. So this kit is called Quaint Cottage, and it is the happy-go-lucky pattern.
Now our next kit is another floral, but it has a little extra something. We have some butterflies and some beautiful hummingbirds on this.
It's gorgeous.
It is so pretty. And what's really cool about this fabric is it's got some brilliant colors with the pinks and the greens and the blues. This is a great example of a larger print that's going to work so well in this large space. And it's going to go everywhere you see the little holiday fabric here with this Mr. and Mrs. Santa. It's going to really be perfect for this because of the scale. Now our number 2, we kept it a lighter color. Remember, that's our quiet. That is going to go everywhere you see this fabric here, the white.
I love the way it's kind of got the shadowing of that blue-green in there. That is so pretty. It really picks up the colors from the hummingbird wings.
Yeah, it's just a touch. I like that too. Very cool. And then our number 3, such a beautiful kind of a filigree floral on a dark navy blue that's going to pick up our blues in our focus fabric. That's going to be our pinwheels everywhere you see the black. So it's really going to contrast and just accentuate the movement of those pinwheels because there's so much movement on the fabric itself.
I was going to say that number 3 is really going to make those pinwheels look like they're spinning.
It's great. All right, let's share an image with you so you can see too how fabulous this looks in Happy Go Lucky. I love that it showcases that large print and that long strip. And those pinwheels just look perfect floating in that extra strip there.
Well, you know, and make sure you stay till the very end of this program today because we're going to be showing you photos of the amazing quilts that you have done from the February Quilt of the Month Challenge. So be sure to continue watching.
Yeah, it's so inspiring. You guys are fabulous. Okay, let's get you the kit information on this kit. It is called Wild Nectar, and once again, it's in our Happy-Go-Lucky pattern.
Fran, does this bring back memories of your childhood?
Of having animals and goats and chickens and
we never had a cow, but you know, you just had to have your hands in the earth, and it was just what happened whenever we were young and at that age.
It was a good memory.
Yeah, we moved from a big city out to
the country.
And
we had these animals, some of these animals.
And the kids thought for sure I was taking them to the end of the world.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a lot of fun, and this is perfect. It's great for anybody that you know that really likes that homesteady kind of a lifestyle.
It's like art. I mean, they're so well done, and they look like they're hand painted on the surface of this fabric. It's gorgeous.
It looks like they're watercolored
really
almost.
Yeah.
So it is awesome, and it's going to go in this big wide strip here. So you're really going to be able to show off this big print. Row quilts are just perfect for that.
It is, those
and
big
if you
prints.
have, if you've got big prints in your stash, because that's what we usually are drawn to, you're going to love this pattern. Now the number 2 fabric, we went with a nice earthy kind of a tan color, and that is going to look perfect in the lighter section of your second row. So your row 1 is the animals, and then you're going to have that separator with your number 2, and then the center of your pinwheels will be this nice, it almost looks like tanned cowhide or something. But look how it goes together.
Oh, it's so perfect for the animals. It really is.
But let's look at an image of this now. Is that not fun? Fun, fun, fun.
I love this.
Yeah.
And I love that this quilt pattern can accommodate that really large print fabric. And this is such a perfect example of that. I love being able to see all of those animals in there. And it's like art. I mean, this is truly art.
Right. And this is the way you like to see animals.
Yeah.
Yes.
On my quilts, not in my backyard.
Well, we had that experience and it was wonderful.
Yes. Now you can see how wonderfully versatile our happy-go-lucky pattern is. And we have a special deal for you. You can get 10% off the downloadable pattern. Now there's a code on the screen for you, so be sure and jot that down. This code is valid from today to the end of April. So be sure to go download your pattern and get 10% off.
And while you're on the website, be sure to check out the kit. It's called Farm Life, and it's the happy-go-lucky pattner.
Now this next kit has Fran written all over it because of the bold color.
Yes, it does, and it takes an awesome pattern and it turns it into a wowzer pattern.
Wowzer, yeah.
It is awesome.
I love the way the feel of this pattern changes with fabrics that you choose, and this one is no exception. So our number one fabric is this really bold, colorful print. The really special thing about this fabric is that it's an ombre. Now, at each end is where the selvage is. So this ombres from selvage to selvage so that you get all of these colors and you get to see all of these cool designs on this fabric. And it's gonna go right here in our big strip. It's gonna be so cool. I cannot wait to show you the image.
It is gorgeous.
Oh my goodness. So our number two, we have a textured kind of a soft white, a little bit of an off-white in there. That is going to be the background of your pinwheels here. And then we have
More wowzer.
more Wowzer. I mean, I just love this. We have a black that has kind of a gray movement on it. It's all these swirls. This is going to be our pinwheel, and it's really going to make these pinwheels striking with the black and the soft white. And then this color. I'm going to quit talking about this. Let's just show them
Let's
the
just
picture
show 'em.
because
That
this
is-
picture is exquisite.
Wow.
I mean, it is so pretty the way that fabric ombres across the quilt.
And there's so much movement in the focus fabric and in the pinwheels. It's
Yes,
cool.
and it's that contrast and that very artsy look, which I just love.
I
so
like it
pretty.
too.
All right, let's get you the kit info on this. It is called Botanic Burst. And once again, it is our happy-go-lucky pattern.
Now here's another beautiful fabric that looks like it's been watercolored. It's so gorgeous. I love that background. How you see the green and the blue.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
I mean, this is striking fabric.
It is. I mean, so many of these look like pieces of art.
All on
They're just
themselves.
gorgeous. And it is going to be here in this big, wide strip. It is just going to, that quilt is going to look like you planted a beautiful, like an English garden or something with all the different flowers. I love that look.
And you know, something that we haven't mentioned on this pattern, which I think makes it extra special. Of course, we've said it can take the large prints, but in the number one position, it can also take a directional print. So like the
That's
farm
right.
animals, and like this one is a little bit directional here with the flowers growing. So this is great for all of those fabrics that you've been wondering what to do with.
Right. And that is so true with the directional, but the cool thing is if you have a tossed fabric, it'll work
It also
equally
works,
as well.
yes.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And then our number two is going to do its job of being nice and quiet and going right behind here so that you can see the pinwheel. But there is some texture to it. And then our number three fabric, oh wow. So I can't wait to see how this looks in the image because you're getting some purples and blues, just like on the background of the fabric where we had the blues peeking through and then there's some purples peeking through. It's going to be gorgeous.
And you know what this makes me think of is, you know, when it's a little bit of a partly cloudy day and the sun is shining through the clouds.
Yeah.
It kind of has that look like it has sunshine peeking through,
That
which I
is so
really
true.
like. Oh, and that number three fabric makes it look like the pinwheels are changing color.
And then that little bit around the edge on the border, it just punches all the buttons
Yes.
on this one. It is absolutely
And
gorgeous.
it almost is like it's almost like the pinwheels are on top and the wildflower garden is in the background, and it continues behind the.
Oh,
I love that.
yeah.
Oh, it's so cool how the fabric just does all these amazing things for the
I think it's
for
so
the
much
pattern.
fun with the optical illusions that are created and makes your quilts look like they're layered. It's
Yes,
gorgeous.
gorgeous.
Well, this kit is called Blooming Horizon. It's the happy-go-lucky quilt of the month.
Now, Mom, I think this is such sweet fabric. And once again, we have a larger directional print, which is perfect.
It's so sweet.
It is so cute. This little face right here is just, oh. And then we also have some lighthouses, some sailboats. There's some dolphins. It really, really is a beautiful print. And of course, this is our focus fabric, so it's going to go in our big strip on our happy-go-lucky pattern. And then, of course, we've paired it with a little sand here, another very kind of soft textural print that's going to be the background of our pinwheels. Perfect. And then look at our number 3. It's a tone-on-tone, a blue with the seashells and the coral and the starfish, all kinds of things to make up our pinwheels. Oh, so good. I think it just pops. Let's look at an image because I think it's cool how this fell.
Wow, yeah.
It is so neat. I love the way our focus fabric, it kind of has like rectangles and as part of the print.
Kind of like a postcard from the beach.
Yeah, it is. But it almost looks like you've pieced that strip and you haven't.
Oh, good point.
I mean,
Yes.
talk about a little trickery going on there. It's going to be so fast because it's just a strip.
That is a good point,
It's
Fran.
like all these little rectangles with all these little sweet pictures of the beach and the sea. It's so neat. The kit information on this one is called Cobalt Seas, and once again, it's our happy-go-lucky pattern.
Now, Fran, just like I said earlier, this is my favorite part of the video because like I mentioned earlier, we have some amazing photos from the quilts for our February quilt of the month, which was Gatsby.
And Gatsby is a great pattern because you can use a panel and 2 one-yard cuts of fabric, or you can just use 3 yards of running yardage fabric, which is great.
And we've got lots of versions doing both of those things. Some of them are combined, some of them are all running yardage. We cannot wait to show you. We've been so inspired.
So let's check out the first one. So here we have Pat. Now, Pat used a peacock panel for her focus fabric, which I love because she paired it with this number 2 as a background that's bright blue that I think really sets off her panel, which is great. Now, she also did something a little unique, which I really like. She used a border print for her number 3. This is such a clever idea.
That is.
Because not only is it on the border, as you can see here, it also creates those boxes, that alternate block, and you can see how it fell so perfectly. Pat, great job.
Great movement in that quilt.
Yes.
Now, Kathleen used running yardage with birds, and it's such a pretty watercolory look in the background of that number 1 fabric. And she said she had had this fabric for quite a while, and when she saw the Gatsby pattern, she just knew it was the perfect pattern. And I think we're going to have to agree with you, Kathleen. It looks really nice.
Fantastic. Great job. Now, Phyllis sent this one in, and she used a stripe in her number 3 fabric as well. Stripes work so great in the number 3 position of Gatsby.
It does.
You guys have just done a great job with this. Now, Phyllis made this for her 6-month-old granddaughter, which I know that she's going to love and cherish and take it with her everywhere.
Absolutely. Now, Mimi used a combination of floral panels and colored squares. So if you have some extra little panel squares in your stash, use them up and then mix some different fabrics with them. That is a great idea, Mimi. And she quilted with sayings and scenes on the colored squares, so that gave them a little bit more interest. So the person that's receiving this could read the sayings and enjoy the colored fabrics as much as the little flower
That
pots.
is such a great idea.
Cute.
Oh my goodness. Okay, our next quilt was made by Mary Jean, and she used a polar bear panel and then fussy cut some penguin fabric from a border print, which is very cool. So if you'll notice that she's got her polar bears all in that number 1 position, but on the top and bottom border, she has her penguins, and then on the side border, she has her polar bears.
That is a wowzer.
I love this. It is just so cute. You are such a savvy quilter. But you did something, did a couple more things too that I want to point out. You pieced a back for this that is exquisite. It is like a whole nother quilt.
It is.
And it is incredible. And she pieced her backing with layer cakes that she cut down. And I just think it's amazing. What side do you look at? Because they're both so perfect.
Yeah, very clever. Very
Wow.
clever. So Sherry used running yardage for her quilt, and I like the way that she picked an orange for her background. She managed to keep the contrast, and rather than a light color, which might have just kind of faded away because the number 1 has a light background, she really got the contrast in this, and it is such a fun quilt.
It's great.
Then she added an extra border with the focus fabric. So she just added a little more fabric and made it a little bit bigger, and it is so fun. I love it, Sherry.
So good. Now Sharon sent in her version of Gadsby, and she did a combination of panels and running yardage. So she has some kitty panels in there, which you know is always close to our hearts. And then she used a secondary fabric for some of the alternate focus blocks there. And I think it looks really, really good. I also like that you used some of that fabric in your alternate blocks to create that background square. I think it's really cool. And of course on the border, so fun.
So
Love your
fun.
kitties.
Now Janet used a panel for this. I like the way that the different colors of panels, it looks like that maybe she added different panels and maybe a little yardage as well. It is just such a fun quilt. And she outlined her blocks with chenille, which I thought was kind of clever.
Oh, that is clever.
So it gave it a little texture on top of it all. Great job, Janet.
Very clever. Now, Vicki used running yardage in her quilt, and it looks like she's got some really fast cars on here.
We have a song for that.
Oh.
There's a song for fast cars.
Yep. But I like the way that she used the yellow in the background. I think it really helps the number 3 red pop, which I think is really good. And what better colors to go with fast cars.
Yes.
And she also added an extra border with her focus fabric. So much fun, so good, and I love the way that it really pops. Great job, Vicki.
That is great. Now Sabina used multiple fabrics for her focus. So if you look at this quilt, you'll see that it looks like maybe she had some running yardage, but she didn't have quite the even number of blocks, so she went to her stash and picked out some great fabrics, and it makes it have a real scrappy look. I like that.
Love it.
So it's a great way to use up some of that fabric. And you know, whenever you're cutting your 3-yard quilts, sometimes you might have 1 extra block. Well, just save them up and do like Sabina did, and you have a great looking quilt.
That's awesome. We're going all the way back to our July 2024 Quilt of the Month Challenge, Patriotic Pride.
It's so fun to see how you can take the patriotic pattern and use it for other types of fabric and change the look completely.
Yes.
We also have some great photos of our Skip to My Lou quilt of the month challenge.
There are so many bright, fun color combinations. I just love seeing how you make these patterns your own.
We love seeing what you make so very much. And it's so inspiring to see these patterns come to life in so many different combinations.
Really. If you would like to send us a picture of your quilts, send them to WeListen@fabriccafe.com.
And if you'd like to see what our March Quilt of the Month challenge is, be sure to watch the video that pops up.
Happy quilting!